Let's lock in. Vergil Ortiz cools down the Israil Madrimov hype with impressive victory. And it was an impressive victory because apparently he was the underdog. A lot of people rated Madrimov so high because of his performance against Terrence Bud Crawford that they actually thought he would beat Vergil Ortiz. And Eddie tweeted, "Sorry, Eddie," again, and with the winky face emoji, and he at Vergil Ortiz, but he didn't add Eddie Hearn, who is what he's talking about. And he's saying that because this is the second time one of his fighters has defeated Eddie Hearn's fighter in a major bout. The first was Barboza winning his fight, and then Vergil Ortiz just beat Madrimov. So look, this is one of the fights that really bugged me. That really bugged me watching it because the commentary from the Zone and some of the other channels were making it seem like Madrimov was winning rounds that he clearly wasn't. Madrimov was on the back foot. He was inactive. Vergil Ortiz was pressing the fight, landing left hooks to the body, landing vicious punches to the body. And he slowed Madrimov down. And once he slowed Madrimov down, he started battering Madrimov. And then at a certain point in the fight, later on in the fight, Madrimov couldn't move as much as he was moving due to the body shots and the punishment that Vergil Ortiz put on him. And he started to stand his ground more and fight more. And in those spots, he actually did a decent job. He still was getting, beat up by Vergil Ortiz, but he did land some good punches on Vergil Ortiz, but he still was losing the rounds. And he was using his head a lot. And he should have really had a point deducted, but they didn't want to take a point away from Madrimov. But I saw at least 4 times where he got on his Katie Taylor, Madrimov, and he was headbutting Vergil Ortiz. He did more damage with his head than he did with his fist. Let's put it to you like that. And I don't like the way that these commentators were gassing up Madrimov moving around. Yeah, okay, he's moving around. I don't care how fancy you think his footwork is, but he's running. He's not generating offense off of the movement. Again, if you move out of the way of a punch, or if you're utilizing movement to generate offense, then cool. But you can't lap the ring. You can't go to once the fighter cuts you off and it's time to engage, then you go this way and then the fighter has to move, cut you off, and then you want to move the other way and then the fighter got to move to cut you off. You're never engaging. You're running. And this is the problem. This card exposed that a lot of people don't understand the difference between running and boxing. And I explained this and I'll explain it again. Running is just constantly avoiding an exchange. Soon as a fighter cuts off the ring, if you're a boxer, you should be manipulating movement to put your opponent in a position for you to land the punch you're setting them up for. And once you land that punch, then you change position and you reestablish yourself, and then you put the fighter in the position you want them to be in. That's boxing. Just constantly moving for no reason, that's not boxing. That's running. And here's the difference between boxing and running. You can box all night. You can box 12 rounds, masterclass. The difference is running, you will eventually slow down. And when you slow down, you're going to get beaten up by the fighter who's been chasing you the whole time. Because it takes a lot of energy to do all that running. It takes a lot of energy to do all that running. So once you do all that running and you keep doing all that lapping, and once you slow down, belt to ass. That's what's going to happen. And that's what happened to Israil Madrimov. He ran and he ran until he couldn't run no more, and then he got beat up. And the other thing I don't like is I really don't like how Shakur gets all these expectations, but this guy Madrimov, who's favored to beat Ortiz, is running, throwing less punches, not being as exciting, and they're somehow seeing him winning the rounds and praising him for it, which is wild to me. But the reality is Vergil Ortiz dominated the fight. Vergil Ortiz, I scored it 116, 112. So I had it 8 rounds to 4. Vergil Ortiz went in there and took the fight to him. And Madrimov didn't want any parts of it. And he clearly and thoroughly beat Madrimov. He cut off the ring, went to the body early, slowed him down in the middle rounds, and then started landing big punches to the head, big punches to the body. Punch selection was perfect. The pace was perfect. Vergil Ortiz went in there and did a demolition job on him. And Madrimov, he ran till he couldn't run no more. That's how I saw the fight. I already explained it. I really wasn't enamored with Madrimov. I thought he was getting a lot of hype off of his fight against Terrence Bud Crawford. And even then, I thought Terrence Bud Crawford beat him decisively and people were gassing up his performance. You see, the crowd was in favor of Madrimov, and they clearly wanted Madrimov to win. The zone commentary, which Madrimov is promoted by Eddie Hearn, and you know Eddie Hearn's relationship with the zone, they did their best to try to make people think that Madrimov was winning early rounds, that he wasn't, until Verge was beating him up so badly they couldn't help but admit that he was losing. That happened in another fight. We're going to get into that. So I just really can't understand like how people can watch what Madrimov does and be impressed by that, and then watch what Shakur Stevenson does and then call him boring in The Cure for Insomnia. Like, there's just some disconnect. There's just something there that you need to be honest with yourself. And why is it okay when Madrimov does it, but it's bad when Shakur does it? Like, it just, and Shakur is actually landing cleaner punches, more technically sound combinations being thrown, better punch placement, better athlete overall. Why is it boring when Shakur does it? Because he does it better. He does do it better because he really doesn't get hit. I see your boy Madrimov try to do it and got his behind whooped. So, and they still try to make you think that what Madrimov is doing is as good as what you see Shakur doing. If what Madrimov was doing is as good as what you see Shakur doing, then you would have been falling asleep at his fight too, I guess. But Vergil Ortiz is the only thing that kept us up because he was tagging that boy. Pause. So I don't know. But the one thing I'm so happy I don't have to hear is about how good this dude Madrimov is, because I never thought he was that good. And Vergil Ortiz gave him the business. And the commentary should be ashamed of themselves. Like, it's just awful. It was just awful. The commentary for that fight was awful. And it was awful all night. And we're going to get into that too. When I give my overall assessment of the last crescendo. But respect to Vergil Ortiz, massive win and on a big card. He showed up. He showed out. Most importantly, he showed up to fight. He made the fight. He pressed the fight. He beat the run. He beat the movement out of that boy. And then he got the decision. So salute to Vergil Ortiz for saving what was going to be an extremely boring fight if Buddy just kept running all night. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Remember, if you can't watch these videos, you can listen to them on my podcast, available on all major streaming services. It's Caden. I'm out. Peace.